Hi, everyone. As you're joining here, Katie Leone is organizing everyone's entry, and we're getting set for our update with Captain Menzel. My name is Paul Dolan, chair of the Economic Alliance, and I'll be speaking at the beginning here. We'll take a cue from Katie when we get going. Thank you for joining today. All right, Katie's letting us know she's still organizing everyone in. I just will say a few words so you know your microphone is working or your speakers are working. Again, my name is Paul Dolan, CEO at ATS at the airport here in Everett. And we are waiting a few folks to join here for our State of the Station. Thank you so much for joining today.
Well, you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, I will do that. And you'll let me know when we have all of our guests, Katie?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for joining. As I said, my name is Paul Dolan. I serve in the role of chair of the executive committee of the Economic Alliance here in Everett. Usually Gary Clark, our CEO, would be hosting these events, and Gary's doing some important work back at an economic development conference back east and asked that I offer to chair today, which I'm happy to do. First and foremost, just a happy birthday to the Marine Corps today, 246 years strong. And as we enter tomorrow and celebrate Veterans Day. And so 2 big days for our former service members. I'm one of them, so I'm very happy about that. And also served in the Navy as we get a chance to meet Captain Menzel today. All of you probably know this, but I'll hit this. Economic Alliance is obviously working a lot on the region, the vitality of the region, the growth in the region. And one of our key partners here in Everett is the Naval Station. And today we're going to have a chance to meet the new commander of the Naval Station, who we'll introduce in a moment. Before I get started, though, I want to just say a big thank you to our sponsors today. Our presenting sponsor, who you'll meet the CEO of the Port of Everett today in a moment. Our partner sponsor always seems to be everywhere with us, the Boeing Company. And our signature sponsors, Classic Country KXA, Community Transit, and KRKO Greatest Hits. And today's events sponsor is the Tulalip Tribe's charitable contributions. So as mentioned, our sponsor, our presenting sponsor, the Port of Everett, it's really my pleasure to introduce their CEO, someone that all of you know fairly well, has been with the port for over 16 years and the CEO since October of 2019. There is so much going on there right now. So many of you have attended Lisa's presentation on the state of the port. Lisa Lefebvre needs no introduction. Lisa, I'll pass to you, and thank you for being here today. Lisa.
Thank you, Paul, and welcome everybody. I appreciate the introduction. Very excited to be here today. I guess virtually, hopefully next year it'll be in person. Welcome to all of the service members and a happy Veterans Day as we go into tomorrow to all of you. It's been an honor to get to know Captain Menzel and work with him. I've been very pleased with the relationship we have, as well as with Captain Davis and the other captains. As you know, the port is a strong supporter of the U.S. Navy base and trying to make sure that we grow our assets down here and grow our workforce and support that working waterfront. So we're really excited with all the news coming out of the base and how we can best support that. You've probably seen, I think, the president speaking right now and the Port of Baltimore on supply chain issues. We at the Port of Everett have been helping serve as a relief valve for some of those because of the infrastructure investments that we've been making. We're able to put into place 2 post-Panamax container cranes to support our aerospace industry. They also are very effective in handling 53-foot containers. So we've been having quite a bit of container growth during these supply chain issues. And with our investment in the Kimberly-Clark site and the construction of the new Norton terminal, that was really the last piece of the puzzle to be able to get strategic seaport designation. And that's a really critical designation. It supports the Department of Defense along with Naval Station Everett to be able to handle military sea lifts, so that if there's a major deployment needed or just moving troops in and out, the Port of Everett can now support that. We're one of only 11 ports in the nation that have that designation. And because of our close partnership with Naval Station Everett, we were able to secure that designation along with our infrastructure investments. And then obviously down at Waterfront Place, we're working on creating a destination waterfront where our sailors and the community have a place to enjoy some free time and recreate and have places to eat and sleep. So I appreciate the time. That's a little update on the port as it relates to support for the naval base. Actually was fortunate to have Mayor Franklin down on a tour for the port this morning and got to show her some of the activities that are going on down there. The city and the port and the county have been working on Navy advocacy for forever, really. And we've traveled back to DC many times. Mayor, congratulations on your recent re-election. Excited and happy to have you leading the city. And similar, Mayor Franklin has no need for introduction. She's been a huge advocate for the Navy. Very fitting to be able to introduce the state of the station. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, it was great to see you this morning and just so fantastic to see all the activity down at our amazing port. Thank you for your leadership there. And good afternoon, everybody. Paul and Economic Alliance, thank you for bringing us together for the State of the Station today. I'm really grateful for the work that Economic Alliance is doing to raise awareness on the economic potential of our region and the ongoing efforts that you are undertaking together with Gary's leadership to attract new businesses and investors to our city and county. I'm excited to welcome you all virtually to the State of the Station event, and I'm honored to be able to introduce Captain Menzel in just a few minutes and share a few words about Naval Station Everett. Our Navy base is an incredibly important part of our community. Not only does the base play a really pivotal role in ensuring our national security, but it's a vital part of our local economy. And the thousands of service members, staff, and family who support the station are an important part of the fabric of the community here in Everett. Everett is really proud to be a Navy town, and as Lisa and Paul have shared, we have worked hard to build a really strong relationship with the U.S. Department of Defense and have advocated in partnership with our congressional delegation, most notably Representative Rick Larson, to protect and expand the base here. This advocacy and work is resulting in long-term steady growth in the number of ships homeported here in Everett. And we were thrilled with the recent announcement that Everett will be the first home port for the first 12 Constellation-class frigates. Earlier this year, Everett was also one of 5 cities nationwide and the only one on the West Coast to be recognized as a great American defense community. This recognition highlights communities with an exceptional commitment to improving the lives of service members, veterans, and their families. And we are honored to have that recognition, honored to have Naval Base Everett here in our city, and especially this week with Veterans Day, very grateful for all who serve. Thank you for your commitment to keeping our community and our country safe. So with that, I'm pleased to introduce our special guest, Commanding Officer Joshua Menzel. Just last week, I had the opportunity to meet with Captain Menzel and hear more about his and the Navy's vision for our base, and I'm really excited for our future. He's originally from Frontier, Michigan, and he's a decorated captain with awards such as the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, and various other awards. Commanding Officer Menzel assumed command of Naval Station Everett on July 16th of this year. He's a career surface warfare officer who has served on frigates, destroyers, and aircraft carriers, including being stationed on our USS Abraham Lincoln right here in Everett from 2001 to 2003. So please join me in giving him a warm virtual welcome. Thank you.
All right, welcome. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Lisa. I will say it's been great building a relationship with both of you. Before I go any further, I want to say that unfortunately my government computer doesn't allow Zoom. And so at the last minute, I had to throw my iPhone up here. And so I have a really awkward angle. And right now I'm seeing myself and I don't like that at all. The other thing I guess I'll tell the whole team here is I was fortunate for most of the COVID pandemic to be on a ship and not in the Zoom environment at all. And so this is still relatively new to me. And I spent my entire career working on learning how to talk to people, not talking to my phone. So it's a little bit odd for me. I like to read the audience and see what people say or think or do and change my tactic a little bit based off your body responses, but I'm not going to get to do that today. But thank you again for the warm welcome. Thank you for inviting me to talk. I'm really excited to be here and explain kind of what we're doing. I thought I'd start by saying a little bit about myself. I know the mayor mentioned some of it, but I did grow up in Michigan. I've been in the Navy now for 28 years. The first 5 of it, I was enlisted. And then the Navy decided to send me to college, and I went to the University of Idaho. That was where I kind of fell in love with the Pacific Northwest. I also happened to fall in love with my wife, Michelle, who is born and raised in Spokane, Washington. So that's really kind of given us a grounding here in the Pacific Northwest. Like the mayor mentioned, I am a nuclear trained surface warfare officer. And my last tour was on USS Carl Vinson. It was in the dry dock at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton. And so my family lived all over there. And then in July this summer, we moved over to Lake Stevens, and I took command in July. And my family and I have really enjoyed the area here. We love Everett, we love Lake Stevens, Marysville, Snohomish County. The area is great. The mountains, the trails, the lakes, all of it has been wonderful. We're here for 3 years, and we're really looking forward to continuing to get to know everyone and enjoy the environment. So for the state of the station brief, I thought I would start. We'll talk a little bit of background. Some of you probably know it already, but we'll go through that, talk about where we're at right now, the ships that we have and the commands and what we're doing, and then a little bit about what the future holds. So Naval Station Everett is the newest base in the Navy. It was established in 1994. It originally home-ported aircraft carriers, the first one, Abraham Lincoln, and other surface ships, frigates and destroyers, as well as Coast Guard vessels. We happen to be one of 2 Navy-owned deep water ports on the West Coast. And we're one of 4 major naval installations in the Northwest region. That deep water port capability and our location here is really key strategically because it gives us direct access to the Pacific Ocean and really to the Indo-Pacific area of responsibility. And you probably have seen a lot in the news, a conversation about China and all that's going on in the South China Sea and Korea and all of the Asian Pacific theater of operations. And so our position here provides us a great strategic access to all of that as a Navy. The other thing is we are the closest port that we have to the Arctic, which is another area that has become largely important to the nation. We've seen some of our near competitors, both Russia and China, have laid a lot of claim to the Arctic. US is trying to get our foot in the door. And so we provide another base of operation, the furthest north and closest access on the western coast to the Arctic. We have a couple of portions of our installation that are not located here at main Naval Station Everett. We have Smoky Point up in Marysville, where we have our Navy Exchange and our commissary, as well as we have some fleet and family services. We have Jim Creek that's just up north of Arlington, and we have a radio station there. We have it's about 5,000 acres of forest and lakes up there. We also own an area on Pacific Beach, Washington, on the coast, about 100 miles north of the Oregon border, where we have cottages, we have some ranges over there, and some places for recreation. And lastly, we own a piece of property in Bayview, Idaho. It's on the very southern tip of Lake Pend Oreille, where we do acoustic testing. So what does an installation do? I put it like this. I think our number one job is to support the operational commands or operational fleet. So in many ways, I'm kind of like the mayor of Naval Station Everett. I didn't have to get elected, and so that was nice. But we do provide infrastructure. So the facilities are our responsibility, all the buildings. We build them, we maintain them, and help our tenants keep control of those. We also have a security force, both on land and on the ocean here, as well as we have a firefighting station on board and emergency services. The other piece of that is we provide we refer to as MWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And that's the flip side of our sailors' lives. So the operational side, I've got commands out here, and I'm going to talk about some of those, and they're going to focus on the sailors doing the job, doing the mission, the things we think about the military doing. The flip side of that is Morale, Welfare, and Recreation takes care of their body and their mind, as well as their families. And so MWR will cover our gyms and those types of things, as well as we have counselors available and everyday life training for both our sailors and for their families, including we have child development centers for childcare and those types of things. One of the things I think is very different between the military and working in the civilian sector is that whether the family is a dual military family or one member is in the military and the other one's not, we're going to take one of those pieces of that family and we're going to take them, we're going to deploy them for 6 to 7 months at a time. And so we have an obligation to the family to make sure that while their loved one, their spouse, that other portion of the family is out doing what it needs to do to support and defend the nation, that we take care of them. And so we have a lot of our focus is taking care of the family and that side of the house. Additionally, on Naval Station Everett, we're the host of over 15 different tenant commands. We currently have 6 destroyers here at Naval Station Everett: the Momsen, Gridley, Kidd, John Paul Jones, Jonas McCain, and Sampson. We have Strike Group 11 and Desron 9, Destroyer Squadron 9. So Strike Group 11 is the Nimitz carrier strike group responsible for the carrier. There's an admiral in charge of that. They have the carrier, they have Desron 9 and the destroyers associated with that, the air wing, and then the aircraft carrier itself. Additionally, we have a number of commands here on the base that support the operational ships and the fleet going out. So we have the afloat training group and a number of other logistic and training commands here to support the ships. We do have 2 Coast Guard vessels permanently stationed here, the Blue Shark and Henry Blake. And also as a command, we support ships down in the shipyard in Seattle. So right now, the USS Chosin and Cape St. George are in Vigor in Seattle. And then we also are supporting USS McCampbell in Portland. And after the end of the year, or beginning of the new year, I guess, McCampbell will be finishing up her shipyard period and she'll home port shift here. To talk about the future a little bit, where we're going, as many of you probably know, a couple of years ago, we lost the aircraft carrier. Since then, the Everett has been kind of a sleepy town. At one point, we only had 2 ships actually home ported here. And my predecessor did a lot of hard work in championing and really got the Navy's attention and pointed out the value of Naval Station Everett and the value to the Navy. And as a result of that, as was mentioned earlier, the Navy selected Naval Station Everett as the preferred choice for the West Coast home for the newest class of ships, FFG 62 Constellation ship. Eventually, that means we'll have an additional 12 ships here in Naval Station Everett. I think this is really of significance strategically for the Navy. All the things we talked about how Everett is a great place to be. And then economically, I think it's really important for the community. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that I think also a huge value in this process is that we're going to be able to bring those additional ships here to Naval Station Everett without changing our current pier capacities or having a significant impact on the environment that way, which is another thing that was really important for us as we moved forward and just went into that decision. So a little bit about the frigates. The frigate design is still in process. So right now we have the Navy selected the hull and the design. It's one that's been previously used by other countries. One of the things the Navy is trying to do is avoid the problems that we had with the LCS class ship, Littoral class ship. If you've seen anything in the news, we moved very quickly on trying to get LCS up and running. Did a bunch of different trial things over the years. It's been probably 15 years in the process now. And the program had a number of problems. So with the frigates, the Navy's trying to capitalize on the good things we learned from the LCS program and try to mitigate the negatives. So as we speak, we're still working out some of the details of the hull design, as well as the concept of operations, including the crew size and how we're going to move forward with that. But as it stands today, the Navy's plan is to do a dual crew on the frigate, which means we'll have a blue and a gold crew. Approximately 180 people is the current plan. But to be honest, since I've been here for about 4 months, when I got here it was 152. Then it moved up to 160, 170 something. Now we're at 180, and it's grown for the number of crew that we think is going to be on there. And I think it could probably turn around the other direction just as quickly, depending on what things happen as we go through the design. But should we get 2 crews of 180 each, by the time it's all said and done, we expect to see an increase of about 4,000 sailors on Naval Station Everett, sailors and families. We anticipate that we will probably have to construct additional support facilities. So with the blue gold concept, that means that the current plan would be 6 of those ships, those hulls would be out to sea, South China Sea, and manned with 6 crews. The remaining crews would be here. Of the other 6 ships that were here, they'll either be going through maintenance or they'll be a part of training. And then the other crews are getting certified here, and the crews go out to the ship stays out deployed overseas, and we rotate the crews out to sea for some period of time. So 3/4 of the crews would still be here in Naval Station Everett, and about half of those would not have a ship to be on. And so they would need to be stationed in a building, office building, and then we would also build trainers to continue training those sailors to be ready to go out to the ships. Some other areas where we anticipate some changes, we'll probably need to expand childcare and medical services here on the base. And then some things that I think are possibly some frustrations and challenges that we'll have, specifically housing. I think everyone is aware of the limited housing in the area and the housing costs. I will tell you that as it stands right now, the basic allowance for housing for my sailors doesn't cover rent in most of the places in our area. We have a lot of sailors who choose to live quite a ways out in order to get within that limit. And so bringing in more sailors and more families will put an additional strain on the housing that we'll need to work through and partner with the team here. Additionally, I think we're going to have to look pretty closely at traffic here at Naval Station Everett. I think we'll have similar to the volumes that we had when the aircraft carrier was here. But honestly, it's been a while since the aircraft carrier was here. And I think there's some opportunity for us to partner and look at it while we still have some time to kind of figure it out to ensure that the choke points either coming on the base or leaving the base are able to prevent significant issues. As far as time frame for the frigates, Construction on the first one is going to begin in 22 and expected to be delivered in 2026. With all 12 are scheduled for fiscal year 31. I say that with a huge caveat on that. Like I mentioned with LCS, the Navy has not got a huge good track record for delivering these ships on time. I'd like to think that this time will be different, but in reality, there's a whole lot that goes into that and into this equation when we consider that it's everything from, next year we're going to have a number of new people in the House in DC, and then the next year we're going to have potentially a whole other administration. And over the course of that time, there's so much that happens, whether it's what happens in the world outside of the United States or what happens inside the United States politically and economically, that can all affect how quickly we are able to put these ships together and deliver them. It could go faster, it could go slower, but that's kind of the plan as it stands right now. And so that's where we are with the frigates. And then the last part of talking about the naval station that I wanted to bring up before we get to the part that I think will be more enjoyable for me, which is answering your questions, is that here at Naval Station Everett, I think it's really important for us. We're part of your community, part of the community, and we want to get as involved in the community as we can. We're really looking forward to COVID opening up. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you face to face and getting to meet you. I think all of us are kind of tired of the remote thing, but as we move forward and have that opportunity, we want to get our sailors out in the community and becoming fully a part of it. We're already out there in many ways because we're living in housing out there. We're going to schools. We're shopping in your stores. But I think even more so, I think where there are opportunities for like volunteer opportunities, we would appreciate hearing about that and having the opportunity to get out and again, further that interaction with us in the community. So with that said, I will open it up for you for questions.
Thanks, Captain Menzel. And you might see my box lighting up here. It's Paul Dolan, and I CEO of one of the local companies and also chair of the Economic Alliance that's with you today. And just on behalf of the mayor and Lisa as well, and everyone on here, congratulations on your role. I know it's a big deal to take on a job like you have right now, and we're very excited that you're here in the community with us. When I was briefly looking at your bio, and maybe I'm going to watch the chat here, by the way, for folks that if they want to see certain questions, we'll keep an eye on it. But when I looked at your bio, if I remember correctly, you started out, you're kind of one of those, real success stories, came in, enlisted, and have risen to rank of captain and running the base here. And so you probably of all are best to share with us your thoughts on what folks on the base will be thinking about, what's important to them for housing, their spouses, and all of that. And I think as business leaders and electeds on the line here with you, if you can share just a little bit of your thoughts as the base is going to be growing, what we should be thinking about. I heard you on housing, we heard you on traffic and MWR, but any thoughts you have in your experience coming up that you think we should be thinking about?
Well, I think like you said, probably, the first and foremost on a lot of people's minds is the housing, like I had said. The other area that we always have, we kind of like stress is the childcare, whether it's for the younger children or also before and after school programs. We do provide some of it here. We have some ability to expand here, but we do have a lot of the Navy partners with people out in town as well. And in general, from what I'm hearing from my team here is it's still pretty strapped to be able to get children into childcare. And so that's going to be, as we bring more and more people on, that's going to be huge. And the other thing that we're dealing with right now that is a challenge is really our mental health providers. So as a nation, I think we've really become aware of the significance of mental health. And in the military, we have very much become aware of it. And I'm very sad to say in just the last month and a half, we lost 2 sailors to suicide on the ship, on the base here. And so that access to providers and mental health providers is very important. And so anyone who has the ability to participate in our healthcare system, TRICARE, we send people out in town. but there's right now just a really shortage of mental health care providers in general. We do it through our MWR and our Fleet and Family Services. We have counselors here. We have our medical team has some counselors, and then we reach out in town. But those are pretty huge areas for us.
Thanks, Captain. There was a question on the chat, and I'll just sort of go there. A lot of times, folks will decide to make a career in the military, and others, even like myself, maybe that didn't, will one day decide to leave the military. And in this community, a lot of opportunity exists. And maybe you could talk about what I remember to be the TAP process and what we can do to make sure that we are thinking about folks like that may be looking for work outside as their careers or their commitments come to the point where they can make those types of decisions.
Yeah, and I'll say all of us are going to leave at some time. Some of us, we may get kicked out, kicking and screaming on the way out the door. But yes, so it kind of falls again back underneath that. MWR has what I would call it, but we have Fleet and Family Services provides employment readiness program for people who are looking for employment now, whether it's our spouses or, and then we do TAP, as you referred to, the Transition Assistance Program, where we give sailors training in how to go about looking into jobs and moving forward and transitioning into civilian life. So both of those are programs that we have available, and anyone who has jobs and are looking to employ or opportunities for sailors, I'm happy to put you in contact with that team. We are always looking for the opportunity to provide those things to sailors as they come up, their spouses, as they come in and look for opportunities.
Great, thank you. Following that, there was a question on the chat that somebody asked that if folks or companies or, we have ideas on where volunteer opportunities with folks on the base may exist, who would you best contact in your organization?
So happy for you to just to reach out to me, and I can connect them with the right resources here. Typically, I start with my command master chief, my senior enlisted advisor, to work that. But my contact information definitely can make sure that that's available to everybody, and we can connect everyone with that. And I would seriously love to hear as much opportunity. I can't guarantee how many of my sailors are actually going to respond, but I have heard a number of folks who are interested in partnering and getting out in the community and doing things. And so we'd love to have that opportunity.
Okay. And this one may put you on the spot a little bit, so you don't have to answer it, but there was a question around maybe with the planning around the growth on the base, if you could share anything about any more near-term projects that you may know are underway for construction. In this case, it was a question about what might impede traffic, but just in general, what we might see in the next year or two.
Right now, we don't have anything that's been authorized to start right now. So everything that we're looking at is potential for 2-3 years down the road to actually getting into that. No significant projects. The timing for it, like I said, the first ship is scheduled to arrive in 26. And so we have some time. We are just now, if anyone is familiar with the budgeting process in DC, the Navy or the military looks at it in a 5-year process, and we're working FY23's budget right now. And so our first project that we're even talking about moving forward isn't until getting funded in 24 and 25. And that's just the funding part. Then actually, putting the shovel in the ground. Unfortunately, I am not anywhere close to as fast as Lisa when it comes to being able to put projects together. And so it'll take a while for us to get into that.
Very good. I have a question, but before I do, I'll just mention to Lisa and the mayor too, if you have thoughts or questions you'd like to enter into the queue here, I'll open it up after this one. Captain, you talked a lot about the frigate mission, and I think it would be interesting to the group, obviously hearing the timing is out of ways. What exactly is the mission of, some of the ships that are here? What does a frigate do on a daily basis, and what are those sailors going to be up to when they're at sea?
So you want to talk about the frigates? You want to talk about destroyers that we have right now?
I'd love you to talk about all of it.
Okay. So I'll talk about destroyers. I love destroyers. I had command of DDG 111 USS Bruins out of San Diego. And destroyers are pretty awesome ships. They actually have 22 missionaries that they're capable of. And so one of the things that a destroyer is, and this is going to be a little bit different from the frigate, is it's kind of the jack of all trades. It does everything from anti-submarine warfare, tracking, to anti-air, to being able to bombard the shore. You kind of think World War II or the Marines going up on the shore, to fighting surface engagements. So it's got a lot of opportunity, as well as, that's kind of on the combat side of the scale. We also have the ability to do law enforcement, and also, as well as, humanitarian assistance when we go places. So the destroyer has a considerable amount of capability, and we've kind of made it the jack of all trades and used it a lot. The frigate is going to look a lot like a destroyer. It's going to be smaller length and smaller width, and it's going to have some of the same capabilities, but it's going to be pared down. And so what I envision from what I've seen is that the frigate's going to be out in more of a 1-2 mission area fight when they're out deployed, and we'll probably reconfigure different frigates to maybe focus on different areas, so that a single DDG would potentially be able to do all of it. So it'll have a smaller crew, so it'll have less that it can do in one time at one point, but it will still be out there to support. And I would expect them to be doing very similar things to what our destroyers are doing, which is right now going out in the South China Sea, going over to from here in Everett, South China Sea, and Fifth Fleet in the Arabian Gulf, and doing our missions over there.
Very, very cool. You see these folks kind of walking around day to day, and we wonder what they're up to, and it's kind of interesting and nice to hear from you on that.
And I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something that's not a promise. It's just something. It's an internal goal. Before I leave, I'd love to be able to work out something where we're able to open up the base in some way to get people on some of the ships and have an opportunity to see it. I know it's been a while since we've had Seafair as well. So I think those are important opportunities for everybody to get to see what your money is providing for the nation. And I know as sailors, we love to have people come on board and see the ships and see what we do.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, Paul, I'll jump in. And I just want to thank you, Captain Menzel, for sharing that, because it is something I would love to be able to. I shared that with you when we met. It would be so great to be able to open up the base again to families, and have them be able to see the ships up close and personal, and meet the sailors, because that is so impactful. But we pride ourselves on being the sailor's choice as far as a Navy station, and so I wanted to know, what else can we do to really remain that base of choice for our sailors? What can we do to better support the families in our community? Obviously, everyday things like thanking service members for their service, but what else can you advise us as local government or business leaders that we can do to better support the base and the families?
So that's a hard question, because you're doing a great job, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, it is clearly the sailor's choice. I've talked to a lot of folks. I was just talking to somebody who got stationed up at Whidbey from here for a little while, and can't wait to get back down here, because Everett's a great place to be. And so I think we've already kind of talked about some of the things. I'm sure I will have better answers as I get further along in my tour here, as I figure out what we can do. But to start with, if you can get COVID to stop, that'd be great. And then we could, we can get more out in the town, and we can all interact with people more. And I think that's, in many ways, that's a lot of it. What makes a home port great for a sailor really is their interaction with the community, because it's really easy as a sailor to be, especially for the sailor, maybe a little bit less for the family, is, you go to work, you come home. A lot of times you work long hours, and then that's it, right? So this is our world, and it's really easy to be focused here. But what makes it great is when you have that opportunity to really meet and interact with people who aren't in the Navy, who aren't in the military, because it really enriches our lives in a lot of ways. I'm sure I'll lose some people by them having that interaction, because they'll realize there's a different world out there. But also they bring that back. And one of my biggest concerns, as I had mentioned earlier, really is the mental health. And that piece of it, being a part of the community, and being involved and having that sense of something larger, and not feeling isolated, which it can very easily be when you're in this environment here. That's huge for their mental health and their family's health. And then as a Navy, I think we do a great job of coming around the families and supporting them that way. But as a father and a husband, when I'm out to sea, I would love that to be more than just the Navy, the rest of the community being able there to support. And I've, over the years, have had phenomenal support. You just reminded me of a great story. I was getting ready to go on deployment. My son was in Boy Scouts, and they had this big, missile camp that they were going to go out in the desert and fire off missiles. And my son's tugging, on my sleeve. He's like, "Dad, I want to go. I want to go. I want to go." I'm like, "I'm going to be gone. Your mom can't do it. I don't know." One of the other dads walks up. "I got you. No worries." And took him under his wing and took him the whole time. That's what we can use more than anything else from the community.
Thank you. Well, we'll work on COVID. We are, but we'll definitely work on being there to be supportive. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if there's other things we can do that we aren't currently doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Lisa, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Is there anything you would like to cover from the partnership you have together with the Navy, Captain Menzel?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. I think the outstanding questions we always have is we are, as you know, fierce advocates for the Navy, the sailors, anything that we can do to support investment on our waterfront and in the community. So is there anything in particular that is important for the base that we should be advocating for at a congressional level or at a state and local level? You did mention that the transportation and access to the base as the base continues to grow. I greatly appreciate that. There is significant bottlenecks coming in and out of the base. Even actually at the current workforce level, we need to address those transportation issues. So would be interested to hear from you what we could do to be an advocate for you at the congressional level.
Yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of what I'm concerned about. We've had a lot of good conversations there. Also, though, on the transportation side, and I think this is a full community thing, is also, we are on kind of an island here. When you look at the trestle and you look at the bridges and all of that, and I know like this summer we're going to be doing the Cascadia Rising, and when we look at some of the concerns from that perspective of a major earthquake or a major incident, we could very well be isolated as a group here. So that's another area where I think there's some room. I know one of the things for the, not asking you to ask for me, but I think maybe as a community between Everett, Snohomish, and I know our firefighters could use it as well, and our ships could use it, but I know there's a lack of firefighting training capability over here on the west side. And so I think, the mayor and I were talking about that. There may be a possibility for some partnership where we could all come together with training for all of our teams to be in emergency services to be more prepared. And you've already hit the biggest thing for us, which is getting us that coffee shop right off on the base. The sailors are going to really need that here soon.
That's top on our list. We've got it covered.
We will definitely get them hooked on coffee. Well, Captain, I'm not seeing a lot of questions, and I also know you've got a lot to do. I appreciate your time today. We'll keep an eye on any last minute hands that go up, but want to say thank you and wish you all the best in your new role. Obviously, happy Veterans Day to you and all your sailors on the base tomorrow. We'll also wish the Marines happy birthday today, I guess. And, just to, again, thank everybody, for the folks at Economic Alliance that put this together. seeing a comment that of thank you on the chat there, that they appreciated this. People are appreciating this conversation, you taking the time to speak with us. There's a lot of folks out in this community that are big military supporters, folks on the call with you today, and we'll do whatever we can to help you be successful in your mission of making this the best place to be in the Navy. As I conclude here, if there's anything else you would like to add, I'll pass it back to you, and then I'll thank our sponsors, and we'll get you back to working on everything that you have on your plate.
Yeah, first, let me say thanks to all the veterans out there as well. I really appreciate all of your service too. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone face to face. Everett is a great place to work. It's a great place to be. I was really fortunate when they offered me this job, and I'm really excited to be here. It's a great time to be here moving forward. And I'm really looking forward to partnering with everyone here as we move forward to make things as best as we can for our teams here.
Great. Captain, thank you again. And to our presenting sponsor, the Port of Everett, and Lisa, our partners, the Boeing Company, Classic Country, KXA, the Community Transit folks, and KRKO Greatest Hits, and obviously our BIN sponsor, the Toledo Tribes. I look forward to meeting you. I know a lot of people do here, Captain, meeting you face to face. And if the mayor carries through and gets rid of COVID here, we'll have an opportunity to do that soon. And as someone who my last tour was as well on the Carl Vinson, really excited you're here. And thank you very much for being here today. Thank you everyone for joining, and this will conclude our state of the station. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.